At 73, George Strait finally talks. About Toby Keith. George Strait was born George Harvey Strait Sr. on May 18, 1952 in Poteet, Texas, and grew up in the nearby town of Pearsall. Strait spent his childhood surrounded by the beautiful open fields of Texas and the simple way of small-town life. These early days would shape who he became and the music he would make. Coming from a family that cared about tradition and working hard, Strait grew to love classic country music stars like Hank Williams, Merle Haggard, and George Jones. You can hear these influences later in the honest and heartfelt songs he would create. After finishing high school, Strait went to college for a short time before joining the United States Army, where he served with honor and was sent to Hawaii. During his time in the military, he found a love for performing and joined an army band called Rambling Country. This experience helped him get better at performing on stage and also taught him the hard work and never give up attitude that would help him in the tough world of country music. When his service was done, Strait went back to Texas and continued his schooling at Southwest Texas State University, now called Texas State University, in San Marcos, where he got a degree in agriculture, which showed his deep love for the land and country life. In 1981, Strait's musical story took a huge leap when he put out his first single, Unwound, which quickly moved up the country charts and showed everyone a new traditional voice at a time when country music was becoming more like pop music. His first album, Strait Country, started a long and amazing career built on staying loyal to the roots of the genre. Over the next several decades, Strait would release more than 30 studio albums, each one filled with his special style of twangy vocals, songs that touch your heart, and simple but emotionally powerful arrangements. Songs like Amarillo by Morning, The Chair, Oceanfront Property, Carrying Your Love With Me, and I Cross My Heart became not just hits but timeless classics of American music. Strait's career accomplishments are truly legendary. He holds the record for the most #1 singles by any artist in any type of music, with 60 #1 hits on the Billboard country charts, a achievement that shows his amazing consistency and how many people love him. He has sold more than 100 million records around the world, won multiple Grammy Awards, and was named CMA Entertainer of the Year multiple times. In 2006, he was put into the Country Music Hall of Fame, making official his place as a forever icon. Even with his huge success, Strait stayed incredibly humble and down-to-earth, and he avoided the Hollywood-style lifestyle that often comes with being a superstar. He almost never gave interviews, stayed out of gossip headlines, and instead let his music speak for itself, a rare and admirable quality in today's entertainment world. Along with his musical success, Strait has received countless awards and honors throughout his career. He won many times at the Country Music Association, CMA, and Academy of Country Music, ACM Awards, including big titles like Entertainer of the Year and Male Vocalist of the Year. In 2006, he was put into the Country Music Hall of Fame, a perfect tribute to a man who had already left a permanent mark on the genre. In 2013, he started his farewell tour, The Cowboy Rides Away, which ended with a record-breaking final concert in Arlington, Texas, watched by over 100,000 fans, making his place as a towering figure in the history of live performers solid. In 2014, Strait finished his final national tour, the Cowboy Rides Away Tour, with a record-breaking goodbye concert at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where over 104,000 fans came together to honor him, making it the largest indoor concert in North American history, even though it was described as a retirement from touring all the time. Strait continues to perform certain shows and keeps a presence in the country music world, especially through residencies and special events in Las Vegas and Texas. His work after the tour also includes charity work and helping young artists as he continues to serve as a connection between generations. George Strait's impact on country music is impossible to measure. He not only kept the genre's traditional roots alive, but also updated them just enough to stay fresh, relevant, and widely loved. Through it all, he stayed true to himself, ignoring trends, sticking to a pure country sound, and never giving up his values or musical integrity. His influence can be heard in the work of countless modern country stars, from Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson to Chris Stapleton and Cody Johnson. In December 1971, George Strait took a bold and deeply personal step that would shape the foundation of his lifelong love story. He ran away to Mexico with his high school sweetheart Norma Voss. Their relationship had started during their teenage years in Pearsall, Texas, and despite the challenges that often come with young love, George and Norma shared a rare, lasting bond. The couple's decision to marry privately across the border showed both their independent spirit and their desire to make a commitment to one another on their own terms, without fuss or anyone interfering. That quiet, honest beginning set the tone for a marriage that would last more than 5 decades, something rare in both country music and the entertainment world at large. Over the years, George Strait often gave credit to Norma as the steady, grounding presence in his life, someone who stood by him through every win and every hard time, helping him handle the pressures of fame with grace and humility. Their family life started soon after their marriage with the birth of their first child, a daughter named Jennifer Lynn Strait on October 6, 1972. Jennifer was the pride and joy of the Strait household, a happy young girl who brought joy and laughter into their lives. As George's career in country music started to gain speed in the early 1980s, he still made his role as a devoted father most important. He often talked about how much he loved being at home with Jennifer and Norma, finding balance between his growing fame and his responsibilities as a family man. Jennifer's presence during those early years added a sense of normal life to their world. Even as George changed from a young singer to a major recording artist, their family grew again nearly a decade later when George and Norma welcomed their second child, a son named George Harvey Strait Jr. on May 14, 1981. Lovingly known as Bubba, he would become not only George's only son, but also a close friend and kindred spirit. Growing up in the Strait household, Bubba was raised with strong values: hard work, respect, humility, and a love for traditional Texas culture. While his father was a huge star in the country music scene, Bubba chose a path that matched more with the rugged, real roots of Texas, the world of rodeo. He eventually went to Texas A&M University, a school rich in tradition and pride, and got his degree while also getting involved in competitive rodeo. Bubba became a team roper in the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, PRCA, where he earned respect in his own right, not just as George Strait's son, but as a skilled and hard-working cowboy. Sadly, the Strait family's story was forever changed on June 25, 1986, when 13-year-old Jennifer was killed in a car accident in San Marcos, Texas. The loss was heartbreaking and deeply personal, shaking the entire family to its core. George, known for being very private, pulled away even more from the spotlight after the tragedy. He stopped giving interviews for many years, choosing instead to deal with his sadness privately. In memory of their beloved daughter, George and Norma started the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation, a charity organization devoted to helping children in need. Based in the San Antonio area, the foundation continues to donate to children's charities, including organizations focused on education, health, and the arts. It stands as a powerful and lasting tribute to Jennifer's life, a way for the Straits to turn their pain into purpose, giving back to the community, and honoring the joy their daughter brought to the world. As the years went on, George took great pride in watching Bubba grow into a talented and well-rounded young man. In 2006, Strait had a proud and emotional moment when he was able to watch his son compete at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, an event that holds special meaning in Texas culture. Just before going on stage himself to perform for a huge audience of fans, George sat quietly in the stands, smiling with pride as Bubba took his turn in the arena. That image of a country music legend watching his son uphold Texas traditions in the rodeo showed the deep family values that run through every part of George Strait's life. It was not just about fame, music, or awards. For George, life was always about faith, family, and staying true to his roots. At the age of 73, George Strait, widely known as the King of Country, has spent decades letting his music speak louder than his words. Respected for his traditional sound and dignified public image, Strait has almost never been one to make public statements or get involved in industry drama. However, in a rare and heartfelt moment, he recently opened up about fellow country music icon Toby Keith, a man whose legacy, like Strait's, left a lasting mark on the genre. Strait, known for being quiet and humble, spoke with unusual openness, sharing his thoughts not just on Keith's music, but on the man himself. George Strait remembered the early days when Toby Keith burst onto the country music scene in the 1990s with bold energy, unapologetic lyrics, and a powerful deep voice that stood out among Nashville's rising stars. Strait said that while their musical styles were quite different, Keith often leaned toward rock mixed country anthems while Strait stayed loyal to a more traditional sound. The two shared a deep respect for the roots of country music and its storytelling tradition. Strait praised Keith's songwriting, pointing out his skill for capturing patriotic themes, working class struggles, and emotional honesty in a way that connected with millions. He mentioned how songs like Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue and American Soldier started national conversations, adding that Keith's boldness gave voice to feelings many Americans felt deeply. But Strait's words went far beyond professional praise. He spoke warmly about Keith as a person, gracious, funny, and incredibly strong-willed. Strait thought back on their personal meetings backstage at award shows and charity events where Keith was always generous with his time and supportive of fellow artists. He especially admired Keith's work ethic and his unwavering devotion to his fans, even when facing personal health struggles in his later years. Strait described how Keith's toughness during his battle with stomach cancer had inspired not only fans but also peers within the country music world. Toby's determination was something else. Strait said he didn't want pity. He wanted to keep doing what he loved, writing songs, getting on stage and making people feel something. That takes a rare kind of heart. Strait also recognized the impact Toby Keith had on the evolution of country music. While the two represented different eras and approaches, Strait believed Keith's contributions were vital to keeping the genre dynamic and relevant. Toby brought in a whole new wave of listeners. He shook things up, and that's important. Strait said, country music's got room for all of us. Cowboys, rebels, poets, and patriots. Thinking about Toby Keith's legacy, Strait acknowledged the powerful mark Keith left on country music through his bold personality, gritty songwriting, and unapologetic patriotism. Toby was one of a kind. Strait said, he had that fire, that edge. He brought something different to the table, and you felt it every time he walked on stage or sang one of his songs. This rare public statement from someone as famously quiet as George Strait carried serious weight, especially considering Keith's recent health struggles and the outpouring of tributes following his death. Strait went on to remember moments the two artists had crossed paths over the years, at award shows, charity events, and behind the scenes of the industry they both helped shape. While they may not have shared the stage often, Strait stressed a deep professional respect for Keith's approach to music and life. We didn't hang out in the same circles all the time, Strait admitted, but I always admired how Toby did things on his own terms. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind, and that takes guts in this business. What struck many fans the most was the emotion in Strait's voice as he spoke. He seemed not only to be honoring a peer but also thinking about the passage of time and how fragile life is, something that becomes more meaningful with age. You get to a point, Strait said quietly, where you start looking back a lot more than you look ahead. And when you look back, you realize how important it is to say what's on your heart while you still can. As George Strait opened up, there was a clear sense of admiration in his voice, an acknowledgement from one legend to another. At 73, with more than 60 number one hits and a legacy secured in the history of American music, Strait's words carried the weight of experience and honesty. In speaking up about Toby Keith, he didn't just pay tribute to a fellow artist. He honored a brother in song, a fellow Texan, and a man who, like himself, had never backed down from being exactly who he was. In the end, Strait's tribute was more than a reflection. It was a moment of unity, of one icon tipping his hat to another, and reminding us all that country music is more than just fame or chart-topping hits. It's about integrity, heart, and the stories we leave behind. And in that sense, both George Strait and Toby Keith will forever ride high in the saddle of American music lore.